Hello everybody and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be talking more about Monster Hunter Wilds and what monsters I would like to see in the game and that I'm pretty sure will be returning. Um, so it's gonna go like returning monsters and then monsters that I hope and really want them to bring back into the mainline franchise series, the main line of games. Specifically the Kickstarter of every generation. Now, without any further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Alright, so the first returning monster that I would like to see come back is actually Velocidrome. Cause like, bro, he was the very first monster, and you can't have a Monster Hunter game without a Velocidrome in it, except for Monster Hunter World. And I'd like to point out the fact that I'm not going to be going over all the returning monsters that I think are going to be coming back. I'm talking more like monsters that haven't been in a mainline game for a very long time and have skipped the 5th generation. So yeah. Let's get into the other ones, because Velocidrome is very self-explanatory on why I'd like him to be back. Next up, we got Yinkut-Ku and all the different variations of a Yinkut-Ku. Like, you know, the blue Yinkut-Ku and like Yingaruga and all the variations of Yingaruga, which would be so cool to have all variations of Yingaruga, but right now we're talking about just all-encompassing the Yinkut-Kus of the world of monsters and hunters. That was a bad joke. He's not been in a game since, I think, the 4th generation. I think Monster Hunter 4. No, Monster Hunter Generations. He hasn't been in a game since Monster Hunter Generations, and it's time that we get our really annoying bird friend back into the game of Monster Hunter. Next up, I have Tetsukabra. Self-explanatory. Tetsukabra is one of the best old-gen monsters out there. Well, early game large monsters out there. Like, I have the very first monster armor set that I ever got in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate was Tetsukabra armor and his weapon. And I'm also going to include Iron Jaw Glavenus, I think is iron something with the jaw. And Berserker Tetsukabra, I think. I'd like to see Tetsukabra come back into a mainline game. Again, he completely skipped, not completely, skipped the 5th gen. There was a baby Tetsukabra in Monster Hunter Rise. It's the one that Master Gojo was riding in the Maiden's Hall or whatever, the gathering hub basically for Monster Hunter Rise, but anyway, I digress. Next, I have Giganox. What is a Giganox? Yeah, right, yeah, the better looking Khezu, because it doesn't have the body of a penis. Anyway, pretty self-explanatory, just replacing Khezu in the mainline game. I get that Khezu's a pretty cool monster and it was the original, but like Giganox is better in my opinion, in every way. Alright, next up, we got the cutest boy, Nibblesnarf. He hasn't been in a game since I think Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and he needs to come back. We all know that he needs to come back. I'm pretty sure that Gobble came back in Monster Hunter, like, Generations Ultimate, I think, but Nibblesnarf needs to come back. I get that underwater combat is probably not going to be in Monster Hunter Wilds, but did I say Monster Hunter World for the intro? We need Nibblesnarf back. We need the cute little boy back. Next up, I have Zamtrios. He's a pretty cool concept for a monster, I'm not gonna lie. He's just a shark monster that can go onto land and can inflate like a balloon. I believe the smaller versions, like the small monster versions of Zamtrios, were in Monster Hunter Rise, I think. Those could be two completely different monsters. I could be remembering them wrong, but hey, they're both shark-looking things. All I want is a shark in Monster Hunter Wilds that is big and you can actually fight. Next up, I have Gosrag. Pretty self-explanatory. If you watch my Monster Hunter Wilds expectation videos, then you will understand why I'm saying Gosrag is probably going to be returning, because I'm pretty sure that those large monsters that are chasing you at the very beginning of the trailer are desert variants of Gosrag. Alright, next up, we got the big old crabs and the lobster, I think, is... No, it's not. They're just big crabs. Diamo Hermitor and Shogun Cyanotor. Both of those are pretty much the same monster, but not really, because... Well, they are pretty much the same monster. They're just slightly different. It'd be cool to fight another big crab after Monster Hunter Rise. Like, I get that some of these have been in Monster Hunter Rise already, but, like, come on, they need to be in a newer, better game. Now, I'm not saying that Monster Hunter Rise is bad. I'm just saying it's not as good as Monster Hunter World, which I'm pretty sure Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be building off of World instead of what Rise did. Basically rewriting. Not rewriting, but like, you know what I mean. Like, adding the wire bug and making combat a little bit faster paced. Like an anime or something. But, yeah. I'd like to see Diamo Hermitor and Shogun Cyanotor return in the 6th generation. Next up, we got Rajang. I know he was in Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise, but come on, he's a monkey, for crying out loud. You gotta let the monkey back in. I mean, Congalonga, I think, the one that originally farted on you, is a monkey as well, but Rajang is just so much better than those. Let's be honest, Rajang is the best monkey boy in Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter as an entire franchise. But, yeah, I'd like to see him return in Monster Hunter, Wilds. Hopefully with some new variations. Like with what they did with, Val? No. The bug wyvern that fights Rathalos. Val? No, it doesn't fight Val. Can't remember its name. The lightning one. That's not Kieran. Yeah, I can't remember. It's one of the Fated Four, I believe. Moving on, we got the Black and the White God, Eucantor and Eucanlos. Or, Eucantor and Eucanlos. They need to be in another. They need to be in another game besides Generations Ultimate, and I think 3 Ultimate, maybe not 3 Ultimate, but Generations Ultimate. I know for a fact they have Eucantor and Eucanlos in them. My God, do they need to be in a new game so bad? So that's why they're in the returning monsters section. They need to be in a new game, or else Capcom doesn't love us. Moving on. Agnactor, the lava serpent thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. He hasn't been in the Monster Hunter game for a very long time, and I just feel that he needs to return. Moving on. Deviljho. Now, I know you're gonna say, but bro, he was in Monster Hunter World, and he wasn't in Monster Hunter Rise, though. I know that he wasn't in Monster Hunter Rise, but he didn't completely skip the 5th generation, which he was originally planned to, I believe. But, like, it's Deviljho. And, like, if the game is open world, then Deviljho needs to be in that open world at all times in any area. And also, real quick, I'd like to point out that, all these monsters may, like, be... There's gonna be more than 3 large monsters. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna save that whole thing for another video. Maybe. But, yeah. Next up, we got Raging Brachydios. Objectively the best Brachydios. He's my favorite version of Brachydios. At least, there's only 2 versions of Brachydios, except for maybe in Monster Hunter Frontier, I think. Yeah, Raging Brachydios would be a lot cooler to return, I believe, than regular Brachydios, just because of how angry that thing is. It's literally right in the name, Raging Brachydios. Like, come on. Anyway, next up we got Seregios. Seregios? Seregios. Yeah, Seregios. The Pinecone monster. Pretty self-explanatory. I know he was a Monster Hunter Rise, but he needs to be in Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, come on. It's a good monster. Very difficult, but a good monster, nonetheless. Next up, we got another member of the Fated Four that has not been in any recent games, for a very long time. Gammoth. Self-explanatory. One of the Fated Four, the only member of the Fated Four that has not been in a new Monster Hunter game. She needs to be in a new Monster Hunter game. Moving on, we have the owl himself, Malfestio. It's an owl. That's a monster in Monster Hunter. We need to hunt this thing, not in Generations Ultimate, and I think Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Yeah, Malfestio. We need him. He's just so cool to fight an owl. Like, come on. It's an owl. That'd be cool to fight. Next up, I know you're gonna say, oh, but this is an Elder Dragon. That's not what he's classified as. Lagiacrus. I know. He's not an Elder Dragon. I didn't know that until I was making this video. I had no clue that Lagiacrus wasn't an Elder Dragon. He's a Leviathan. I know, right? Like, Lagiacrus, who we all thought, well, at least I thought, for my entire Monster Hunter life, I thought he was an Elder Dragon, but he's not. He's not an Elder Dragon. I find that very strange. Lagiacrus is very, very self-explanatory. We have been trying to get Lagiacrus into newer games, but sadly, the Monster Hunter developer crew has not been able to make Leviathan skeletons work in the newer games. Hopefully, they fix that for Monster Hunter Wilds. Next up, we got the Elder Dragons that I'm pretty sure are going to be coming back. Next up, we got Orochi Kirin. Not regular Kirin, because regular Kirin is just terrible. Orochi Kirin is the objectively better monster than Kirin, because it looks cooler, and plus it's a lot stronger and deserves the title of Elder Dragon. But, yeah, Orochi Kirin in Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm pretty sure Orochi Kirin was originally supposed to be in Monster Hunter World, but they decided to not go with that because reasons? I'm not entirely sure. Next up, I have Lao Shen Lung. I know when you guys are thinking, oh, that fight's gonna be boring, he's not gonna fight back. Think about if the maps are like 2 times larger than in Monster Hunter Rise. Like, come on. It's probably gonna be larger than that, but like, come on. Lao Shen Lung in giant maps. You're chasing around. Imagine this. It's open world. Imagine. Now, I'm not saying that it is open world. I'm just saying, if it is open world, you see a Lao Shen Lung in the distance. You go to the Lao Shen Lung, and you chase that thing throughout the entire open world. That would be so cool to me. Or like, it transfers into another zone, or like another biome, and you can follow it into said biome. Like, by, like, traveling or doing an expedition, or just, like, zone transitioning, I guess. But on a much larger scale than the older games. That would be so awesome to have happen. I think it would really spice up Lao Shen Lung's fight. And, like, maybe give him an attack or two. I mean, like, you know. Next up, I got Chameleos. I know he was in Monster Hunter Rise, but, like, come on. A monster that is constantly lurking in the shadows and you have to actively try and look for it. Like, come on. It's such a cool monster. It'll fill the area with mist, and that's how you know that it's in the map and in the area, is if, like, the area that you're in is covered in mist or not. Oh, so cool. Because, like, I'm pretty sure the new weather system that Monster Hunter Wilds is going to have, Chameleos would fit perfectly in with that. Having just so much fog in the area that you're not able to see as far as you usually are able to see, it would be so cool to see. I said "see" too many times in that sentence. I don't know why it auto-corrected to this, but Jen Moran. It auto-corrected to Jen Morgan. I don't want to hunt Morgan Freeman. Jen Moran is... he's not been in a Monster Hunter game since, I believe, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate or Monster Hunter Generations. He hasn't been in a new Monster Hunter game since the 4th gen. I just think it would be a cool fight, like, to have revamped, because, like, it's a cool concept for a fight, just not well executed, because it's very difficult to hunt a Jen Moran by yourself, and Duran Moran, which is basically the same fight, but a different monster. Anyway, I digress. Next up, I got Amatsu. I know he was in a new Monster Hunter game. I know he was in Monster Hunter Rise, but, like, it's Amatsu. Could you imagine the new weather system, I think, in Monster Hunter Wilds with Amatsu? Like, come on. It would be so just good. He would fit perfectly in with, like, the weather system and the whole entire vibe of Monster Hunter Wilds that I'm currently getting right now. It'd be so cool to see the wind gusts that Amatsu is, like, giving off turn into hurricanes. It's just... it would be so cool. Next up, I got Dalamadur. It's a giant serpent. What do you want from me? It would be awesome to see a Dalamadur off in the distance, or, like, on a mountain, or, like, for an event quest, you see a Dalamadur off in the distance, currently on a mountain, or just in the distance. It doesn't even have to be on a mountain. It would be... I know I've said this so much during this, but it would be so cool to see a Dalamadur in the distance in Monster Hunter Wilds, or just see a Dalamadur in its high-res glory. Ugh, it'd be so cool. Next up, I have all the Megalas. Shagaru, Gore, Chaotic. I know they were in Monster Hunter Rise, but I just feel like it fits. Not that it fits, but I feel like they would be good in Monster Hunter Wilds, and, like, they need to be in Monster Hunter Wilds, because, let's be honest, Monster Hunter really needs to pick up the slack when it comes to their flagship. But yeah, I would love to see, like, a Shagaru Megala facing bigger Elder Dragons. It would be so cool. It would just menace to society. Next up is Valstrax, not Valstrax, not Crimson Glow, just normal Valstrax. Which, you can debate that Crimson Glow is just the same as Valstrax, but it's really not. It doesn't have that same feeling as Valstrax. Even though it is the same monster, but just a little bit different. You gotta have the original back. Speaking of the original, Nergigante. Now, if this is set in the new world, which I'm pretty sure it is, it's a no-brainer to have Nergigante in Monster Hunter Wilds, because, like, he is the apex predator of the new world that we know of so far. He actively hunts and eats Elder Dragons, and, like, just calls their numbers to make sure that they don't get out of control. Like, bro, whoa, come on. It cannot get any cooler than that. For concept of a monster, anyway. Next up, I have Namielle. Namielle. Whatever. The octopus. It's a cool... It's one of the cooler new Elder Dragons in Monster Hunter. Sad that it didn't make an appearance in Monster Hunter Rise, and Anjanath did, which... But, yeah, Namielle would be a really cool addition to Monster Hunter Wilds, especially with the, like, rainstorms that it could produce, or just, like, the tsunamis that it could make. But yeah, I digress. Now, this one is probably not going to be in it, but it'd be really cool to have it in Monster Hunter Wilds, and would kind of make sense. Would be Safi'jiiva. Could you just imagine seeing the Empire Star or whatever, the attack that he does, falling from the sky, and then boom! Oh, I know it's probably not gonna happen like that if he is in Monster Hunter Wilds, but it would be cool to see. But yeah, Safi'jiiva, really, really cool monster that I would love to see back in Monster Hunter. Next up, I actually have Malzeno. Now, if they do bring back Malzeno, that would mean they have to bring back the Quario? Whatever. The blood-sucking monsters. But if they do bring back Malzeno, I believe they are going to bring back Primordial Malzeno. Because Primordial Malzeno is the base version of Malzeno. I know, weird, but it kind of makes sense. It'd be cool to see him again and, like, you know, be the absolute menace that he is. Next up, I have Alatreon. Alatreon would be a pretty cool monster to return in Monster Hunter Wilds. And I know he was in Monster Hunter World, but, like, come on, man. Could you imagine fighting Monster Hunter Alatreon in, like, fucking somewhere that's not the secluded valley? Come on. It's such a cool concept. Next up, Fatalis. It's a no-brainer. Like, it's Fatalis. It is the monster that you associate with Monster Hunter besides Rathalos. Like, come on. Anybody who's played the game relates Monster Hunter to Fatalis. He's just such a cool monster, and the epitome of, like, death and destruction that he is. It would be cool to see him back in the 6th generation. Alright, next we have the segment where I just talk about the monsters that I want to return. First monster that I'd like to see return is everybody's pick, Monoblos. The monster that walked so Diablos could run. It's just, he's not been in the game since, I think, Monster Hunter DOS. Come on, man. Get it together, Capcom. Bring back Monoblos. Anyway, next up, I have Dire Morales. Cause, come on, another black dragon besides Alatreon or Fatalis? Oh, boy, would that be cool. Like, just, Dire Morales is conceptually a really cool monster. And I get that you probably couldn't do that outside of Monster Hunter 3, Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate. But, like, it's a black dragon, come on. It's just a cool monster in general. Like, come on. A volcano dragon that's smaller than Zorah Magdaros? Come on. Now, this one is a little bit encompassing. Some more frontier monsters. I'd definitely like to see that giant rock crab, whatever that thing is called. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. And, like, the one that, like, summons bamboo. That would be cool to see back in a Monster Hunter game. It'd just be so cool. Next is Shengoran, actually. Actually, no, before I move on to Shengoran, Disupharoa would be so cool to see in a new Monster Hunter game, besides one that was built the same way that Monster Hunter DOS was built. Because Monster Hunter Frontier is a 2nd gen game. I know, right? It's a 2nd gen game that lasted up until 2017 before Monster Hunter World... Yeah, Monster Hunter World came out. Bring back Disupharoa, please, Capcom, I am begging you! Just bring him back as an event quest or something, or not get an event quest, come on! Next up is Shengoran. It'd just be cool to see another old monster that hasn't been in the games for a very, very long time come back. It just... Come on, Capcom, what are you doing? Pick it up. Yes, shit. Okay? I'm totally not trying to look back and see what Monster Shengaran is. Right. I totally knew what a Shengaran was. The big one, the big crab. Now, if you give him more attacks instead of just walking and stepping on you, he'd be a lot cooler and interesting of a fight, which is why I think Capcom should bring him back, because he needs a revamped fight. But yeah, next up is actually both White Fatalis and Crimson Fatalis, because come on, man. You teased us too much. We need Crimson and White Fatalis. I am begging you. I would love to fight Crimson and White Fatalis in a new Monster Hunter game. Just come on, man. Come on. Anyway, that's it for my most wanted monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah. So this was a fun video to make. Jesus Christ, 30 minutes. I have been talking for a very long time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you liked it. Please subscribe if you're new. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.